The buzzing clippers screamed louder than the girl's sobs as tufts of thick brown fur fell to the dirt. When Luna tried to twist away, the laughter only grew louder. The boys thought this was the funniest thing they had ever done. None of them noticed how the air itself seemed to change when the German Shepherd let out a low, broken whine, one that sounded nothing like a dog and everything like pain. Emily wrapped her arms around Luna's neck, pressing her face into the dog's cheek as tears soaked into the remaining fur. Luna wasn't just a police dog to her. She was the one constant in a life shaped by long absences, sudden moves, and nights when her father's chair at the table stayed empty. Luna had slept beside Emily's bed since she was 5. She walked with her to school every morning and stood silent and proud in her canine vest at community events. Now, half her body was shaved raw, red skin exposed, patches nicked and bleeding where the clippers slipped, while a group of older boys grinned like they had won something. "Relax, it's just a dog," one of them said, still running the clippers along Luna's flank. They didn't notice Luna's ears flatten. They didn't notice that her trained restraint was the only thing keeping her from reacting. Years of service had taught her to endure pain without fighting back. Emily begged them to stop, her voice cracking as she tried to shield Luna. The boys only laughed harder, mocking her, mocking the uniform patches sewn under the dog's discarded vest lying in the grass. They called it fake. They called her dramatic. They called it harmless fun. What they didn't understand was that Luna wasn't trained to attack. She was trained to protect, to read fear, absorb chaos, and hold the line. And she was doing exactly that for the little girl shaking against her chest. The playground stood empty. Rusted swings creaked in the wind. Trucks rumbled on the highway beyond the fence. The world went on as if nothing important was happening, while Emily's childhood cracked open in real time. When the clippers finally shut off, the boys stepped back to admire their work. Phones were already out, filming, laughing about how this would blow up online. That was when Emily looked up through her tears and said softly, "My dad is coming home tonight." They laughed again and walked away, leaving Emily kneeling in the grass, holding a trembling police dog whose service scars told stories none of them had earned the right to mock. Miles away, a transport plane began its descent. A man who had survived places with no rules and no mercy felt something twist in his chest, though he didn't yet know why. Even the most disciplined warriors can't ignore the pull of what they fight for. The knock on the front door came just after sunset, sharp and deliberate. Emily knew it wasn't the neighbors before she reached the handle. Luna lifted her head despite the pain, her tail thumping once against the floor in recognition. Her father stood in the doorway, in civilian clothes that couldn't hide the posture, the stillness, the presence that made rooms go quiet. The moment his eyes dropped to Luna's shaved body, the raw skin, the uneven cuts, something in him hardened. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't curse. Real control showed itself in silence. Emily explained through tears, the laughter, the phones, the clippers, the way Luna never fought back. With every word, his jaw tightened. He knelt beside the dog, rested his forehead against hers, and breathed slowly as Luna finally allowed herself to shake. Within an hour, things began to move. The police department was notified. The canine unit veterinarian was called in after hours. Footage the boys thought would make them famous was already being pulled from social media and archived as evidence. Names surfaced quickly. Cruelty is loud, and the internet remembers everything. Parents were called. Statements were taken. The same boys who laughed in the field now sat stiff in living rooms as they realized this wasn't a prank. This was a crime involving a service animal and a child. Charges were filed. Court dates followed. Scholarships disappeared. Apologies arrived too late to erase the damage. Luna healed slowly. Her fur grew back in uneven patches. Scars remained. Every night, she slept beside Emily's bed again. Steady, gentle, loyal. At the next community event, Luna walked proudly in her vest, head high. Emily held her leash with a confidence she hadn't known before. She understood now that strength didn't always look like fighting back. Sometimes it looked like endurance, like justice arriving without spectacle, like love, once tested, holding firm.